Good morning. I see everyone survived the last night's activities for the most part. So we have a great set of presentations this morning. The first topic is going to be redistricting. That's going to be very timely, of course. We have Quinn Doe from House staff going to be speaking first, and then Sam Coldiron from ODOT talking about your mileage on your county highway system. And then they'll have some questions and answers period. And then there'll be a survey that you'll fill out for House staff later on if you care to use their services. And then of course we have the state auditor speaking later on. Everything you need to know about the American Rescue Plan, Cindy has an answer. She's not, oh, now I get a reaction, good. So thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over to Quinn.
All right, thank you, Randy. Good morning, everybody. I'm Quinn Doe. I'm the House Redistricting Coordinator. I've been working on this issue since February of last year. I remember that all the counties, everyone in the state really helped out on the census efforts, and that's kind of the beginning stages of redistricting, getting that data, getting the population counted. And with that, let me start my presentation. So I'm going to start my presentation, CJ. So we've got it up here. So redistricting happens every 10 years following the completion of the census. It's a really unusual year in that the census results are delayed. Usually, the president receives the census data by December 31st, 2020, and we know the population of the state. That information wasn't provided to the states until April 26th. At the same time, we usually get the detailed block level data that we need for redistricting by March 31st, 2021. That still hasn't been received by any of the states. That's expected August 16th. So because of those delays, the timeline for redistricting work is extended. For all of state government, the legislature is responsible for redrawing state house, state senate, and congressional district lines. For everybody in this room today, your duty per state law is to redraw your county commissioner districts. And then after you're done with that, the typical process is that your county state election secretary, they will redraw the precinct boundaries. All of this work happens in conjunction on a timeline so that we can prepare for the 2022 election cycle. So all redistricting work begins with understanding the population of the state. So this is just a graph of the population of the state over time. You can see that we are close to 4 million residents as of 2020, 40,000 people shy of 4 million. Oklahoma grew 5.5% overall and added 208,000 residents. The redistricting needs to happen because that growth, that 5.5% growth, it's not all proportional at once. So in this next slide, you see our estimated population for each county. Any county that you see on there that is in green grew at a rate that exceeded statewide growth. So it grew more than 5.5%. So you'll see that a lot of those counties are in the metro area. That's Oklahoma County, Canadian County, Cleveland County, over in Tulsa, Rogers, Wagner. The three counties in the South, Love, Marshall, and Bryan, also exceeded statewide growth, and so did Custer. Any county that you see that is shaded in the kind of light blue color, those counties, they grew, but they did not grow on pace with statewide growth. And then everywhere else that you see a county that is shaded in the tan color actually lost population over the last 9 years based on the latest population estimate. So what you want to take away from this slide is that you see your county right there. The number that is bolded, that's the estimated population. You'll know that you'll need to divide that by 3 to get your ideal district population. If there's been a lot of movement of population within the county, some of the district populations, the county commissioner district populations, they will be higher than the ideal, and you'll need to adjust those to be within the 1 person, 1 vote requirement. So Title 19, Section 321 outlines the requirement for county commission redistricting. There's very limited guidance in state law. It just says that there needs to be 3 compact districts as equal in population as practical, and they need to be numbered 1, 2, and 3. One commissioner is elected from each district, and the deadline is usually October 1st. The legislature has gone ahead and passed a bill to extend your deadline to November 30th, 2021, as a result of the census delays. If you do not redistrict by this deadline, state law says that the county excise board takes up the task, and there's actually kind of a scary provision in there that says that you may be subject to removal from office. I've never seen that utilized or implemented, but it does say that in statute. So according to state law, the new districts take effect January 1 of the following year. That would be January 1, 2022. Our process in the state legislature is that we've got a public input and comment period. That's not required of counties, that's not required of the legislature, but it's something that we believe is helpful. So if you have constituents or stakeholders in the county that come to you and say, this would be better organized in a certain way for your county commissioner districts, you might want to take that into consideration, but that's an optional process that you run. Typically, you need to adopt the new lines by resolution. And in the past, I know that ACCO has had 2 resolution templates. One template that says that you have redistricted, you're within the legal guidance, and these are a description of the new lines. The other resolution says that you did not need to redistrict based on population, that your population didn't change that much and it meets legal guidance. Following redistricting, if you choose to utilize the services of the House or Senate, we will create an electronic shapefile of the districts. We will forward it to the OU Center for Spatial Analysis. They're kind of the central depository for shapefiles for the state, but really they have a contract with the state election board, and that will allow them to work on the precinct boundary drawing process following county commissioner redistricting. So I'm not going to go over every single redistricting principle that is typical in a redistricting plan, because this isn't, for county commissioners, it's not required. Not all of these are requirements. Equal population is definitely a requirement, and that just means that all districts should be an equal population as practical. So ideally, if you're able to reconfigure your county commissioner districts in a way where they have the exact same district population, that's great. However, typically the accepted standard is a 10% overall deviation. That means that your district has either a 5% over the ideal district or a 5% under. That's the accepted range. Compliance with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So districts cannot be drawn to intentionally exclude racial or language minority candidates from election. In the state legislature, we have a few districts that we call majority minority. And that's because there are geographically compact groups of minority or ethnic groups that if we were to draw the districts in a certain way, that helps their ability to elect their candidate of choice. I don't see that being an issue for many counties, but if you know that your county has a large ethnic or racial minority population, that might be, I think Texas County, Adair County, Texas County has a large Hispanic population, Adair County has a large Native population. That's something that you might consider. Compactness. Compactness is the shape of your district and having a minimum distance between all or parts of the constituency. It's kind of an eyeball test just to look at what the district shape is like. Contiguity, that's not a requirement for county commissioner districts, and it's my understanding that some of the county commissioner districts in the state of Oklahoma are not contiguous. That means that all or part of the district are not connected at some point. So we have some county commissioner districts where they will have a large part of the rural area, and then they'll come into the city to grab some additional population. That's unusual, but not prohibited by state law. So preservation of political subdivisions is the next principle that is more relevant for state legislative lines or congressional lines, because county commissioner districts, they're wholly within the county district lines, correct? So really, we're talking about preservation of city boundaries. If you want to take that into consideration, we could draw the districts in a way where we go outside the city boundaries so that you're not breaking up a small town or a small city. Sometimes that's impossible for certain counties because you have all of your population base in one center of the county, and you need that population for equal distribution of road miles, or just so that everybody has a manageable surface area or square miles of the entire county. The next redistricting principle is communities of interest. I'm not going to go over that one because I find that it's less relevant for counties as well. But the following one is the preservation of the core of the prior districts. So in redistricting, it's totally up to the counties. But if you can either start from scratch, we won't start from your existing lines at all, and we will draw a new plan based on your preferences, or we can work off the existing district boundaries and say, if you need 100 people between Commissioner District 2 and 3, we'll make that minor adjustment and we'll be done, and we'll be at the ideal population. That's up to you, but a core principle is preservation of the core of the prior districts. That way, there's contiguity in government. A commissioner is familiar with his existing or her existing district. If we totally change the map every 10 years, you'd be a little confused, and it will take more time for you to understand your new district. So I know that road miles are a large consideration for county commissioners, and Sam in a little bit is going to go over the process of how they calculate the road mileage. But that's going to be one of the services that we offer, really with most of the help from Sam's division. And we'll be, as we are able to give you the population information of your new district, we'll also be able to give you statistics on the road miles. So I'm going to go into the equal population principle a little bit more. At the bottom of this slide, there are two tables. One is Adair County, and the other is Canadian County. So these are results from the last census from 2000 to 2010. Adair County had grown 7.82% in the last census. And if you look at the breakdown of the district population, you'll see that it was already fairly balanced. This is one of the counties who was within their desired population deviation range, and they opted not to redistrict. You'll see that Commissioner District 1 had about 7,400 people, same for 2, and same for 3. You see that deviation percentages on that far right column, they're all within 5%. And so this is a county that opted not to do anything and keep their existing lines. To the right, you'll see Canadian County. Canadian County is typically the county that grows the most in Oklahoma. I see that being the same thing this census. So Canadian County in the last census grew about 32%. And that distribution, the population shifts within the county, it wasn't equitable. So you'll see that from redistricting last time, Commissioner District 1 had about 40,000 people, Commissioner District 3 had 43,000 people, and Commissioner District 3 had 32,000. So that's a big difference between all of the counties. They are statutorily required to redistrict based on those deviation percentages. And now, so this is Kingfisher County that I've used as an example. I pulled the Kingfisher County Commissioner districts, the existing lines, into our software. So this is a highlight of District 1. And the reason I chose Kingfisher County is because based on the estimates in our software and based on the estimates you saw on the county map earlier, they're very, very similar. So I have a feeling that it's going to track really well. So Kingfisher County, District 1, according to our estimates, has 5,403. Kingfisher County Commissioner District 2, this is another recreated district, has 5,195. And here is the third recreation. Kingfisher Commissioner District 3 has 5,096 people. Assuming that the county population is about 16,000, according to our estimates, each district should have about 5,231 people. If we're assuming that the acceptable policy guidance is plus or minus 5% overall, the district should have between 4,969 or 5,493. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but these are simple equations. They're pre-calculated in our software for you. So that's not something that you'll have to keep track of. All you'll need to know is that what is the county's policy for their deviation standard. The legislature, they set a standard where they wanted to be within 2.5%. The commonly accepted legal standard is plus or minus 5%. And some counties may opt to really equalize their population. Some counties may allow for more deviation. That is totally up to you. But for all three Kingfisher County Commissioner districts, based on our estimates within our software, they fall within the plus or minus 5. And so if these estimates track just like the 2020 census results, that would mean Kingfisher County could make the decision to not redistrict at all and keep their existing boundaries. And this last slide right here is a close-up of the division between District 3 and 1 in Kingfisher County. So you'll see the boundaries of Kingfisher city limits right here. And those tiny little numbers that you see on the screen are census blocks. Typically, if I need to just micro adjust a district, we could go down to the census block level where we just take a few streets or blocks and give it to another district to equalize population. So now I'm going to go over the services available through the redistricting office. In the last redistricting cycle, it's my understanding about 50 out of the 77 counties utilize the House's services for redistricting technical assistance. We are happy to offer that again, along with the Oklahoma Senate. Following the presentation, I have a survey up here for you. If you do intend on utilizing either the House or Senate services, if you could fill that out so that we could have your contact information and we can follow up with you after the meeting when we're ready to start those that process. But our services will include digitizing your district plan and providing you reports on the population and any proposed plans that you want to make for your new districts. We can calculate district characteristics like the area of each district in square miles, the perimeter. If compactness is important to you, there are up to, I believe, 10 compactness measures that we can calculate. And if the race and ethnic breakdown of the district is important to you, we can also give you information on that as well. The next thing that we can provide is a Mets and Bounds report. So that's a legal description of the district. Some counties in their resolution, instead of just providing a map of the new districts, they prefer a legal description. So we can provide that as well through our software. We can help calculate the district road miles with the help from ODOT. And then at the end, you probably want some custom maps so that you can have it for your records. We can custom make district maps for the entire county, or we can make individual district maps. They can have whatever detail that you'd like. If you want road detail, we have that data. If you want a certain layer on there of the city boundaries, we can provide that custom map, but you'll just need to be specific with us. The next thing that I want to mention is that because the redistricting data is delayed, earlier I said that it would not come until August 16th. And so we would be willing to start our assistance beginning September 1, 2021, and it will be ending November 30th, 2021. And with that, let me move on and show you some examples of maps of the process from last time. Again, using Kingfisher as an example, this is a map that we created for Kingfisher County. This is pre-redistricting. We redrew the Kingfisher map, County Commissioner map, and you'll see the yellow lines are the precinct boundaries from the past. And then we also overlaid them with the adopted House and Senate lines. So here, the Kingfisher County in 2010 population was 15,034. They had an ideal population of 5,011. District 1 and 2 were the ideal candidates to switch population between one another. And that's exactly what happened. You saw that a very minor adjustment was made between those two county commissioner districts in the last redistricting round for Kingfisher County. So this is the final map that was ultimately adopted by the commissioners. The only difference that you can see is that in the far middle right, that's where the change was. So if I go back, you'll see that it had all of that precinct where there were 53 people. And to the right, you'll see that the change is that District 2 went down a little bit closer to the, I believe that's the Canadian River or Cimarron River. And then District 1 went up and took a little bit of population, and that balanced things out. And so here is the final map that we mocked up for Kingfisher County for all 3 districts. This is the one where it has road details. And then these are close-up of individual district maps that the commissioners used for their offices. And here's another example of a Haskell County map that we created. Haskell County was a county that didn't need to redistrict last time based on population. So all we did was digitize their district boundaries and created new maps for them. And I wanted to provide you with another example. So this is a Blaine County map. Blaine County had a different process for their redistricting. And you might recall that Blaine County had a prison in the county. It had Diamondback. And because of that, the Blaine County population counted by the census was actually 11,943 in 2010. However, about 2,050 people of that population, almost 20% of the population of the county, was attributable to Diamondback. And so for the county commissioners, they decided that they did not want to incorporate any prison population for their redistricting purposes. So what we did was we removed the prison population and used the adjusted population to redistrict for them. That's an option that counties can decide on their own. That's a policy that you set. If you prefer to redistrict without your prison population, that's something that we could calculate. It just takes a little bit more time, and we just need a heads up on whether that is something that you want to do. So for Blaine County, you'll see that the top table is the Blaine County population prior to redistricting, and the post redistricting population is shown in the bottom table. And here is just kind of a close-up image of Watonga in Blaine County. So where I've highlighted the blocks in blue, that shows you where Blaine County decided that they didn't want to incorporate prison population. That blue block that is on the top, that's Diamondback right there. There's a tiny little number there that says 20,000 or 2,050. That was excluded from their population. Blaine County also decided that they were going to exclude the county sheriff's prison population that was incarcerated at the time. So I think that was only about 35 people. So overall, they excluded 2,083 people from their total county population. And next, I just wanted to give everyone a list of resources that they could consult: census.data.gov. If you want to look up more information about your counties, this is where the Census Bureau will be posting all the population tables that they have aggregated based on the 2020 census. The OU Center for Spatial Analysis, that is where all the shape files are housed and where we will send your final plan to if you utilize our services. There's also the GIS departments of all of your regional COGs. So some counties may have a better relationship with their council of governments. And I've reached out to several of them, and it's my understanding that some of them would have the capability to help your county redistrict. So instead of going through the House's or the Senate's redistricting office, if you're more familiar with your regional COG, some of them might be able to help you with your redistricting needs as well. Of course, the House and Senate redistricting office is open for your use. There is no charge for the service. We would do all of the technical work that you asked of us and create your maps for you. At the end, we can print several maps in certain sizes for you, in the sizes of 11 by 17. And I think our plotter will be able to print up to 44-inch maps. And the last thing I wanted to mention is there is also a tool called Dave's Redistricting app. This is a tool that we have partnered with for the public to submit their own public maps for the legislature. However, Dave's has also created within their platform the ability to redistrict county commissioner district seats. And they've made it very, very easy. So if any of the counties would like to try their hand at doing it themselves, I can give you a quick tutorial of it, or in fact, actually my contact at Dave's would be willing to give you a webinar tutorial on how to do that on your own. And with that, I have our contact information on the screen right here. This is the House and Senate redistricting office's contact information. I'll leave that up when we come back, but at this time, I'm gonna hand over the presentation to Sam Coldiron, who's gonna give you a little bit more information about how the county mileage is determined.
Thanks, Quinn. So as Quinn said, my name is Sam Coldiron. I'm the Inventory Management Branch Manager for the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. Kelly and I's group is responsible for all of the road GIS data the agency uses, and we're the team that manages the certified mileage that we have to submit to the tax commission every year. So where we fit in the process is after the House of Representatives or the Senate helps you draw new boundaries based on your population and all the factors that were just listed. That GIS file is sent to us to, we have the presentation. Thank you. After you redraw your lines, that GIS file is sent to us and we run it through a tool that we created to calculate your new certified mileage per new district to help you kind of plan out if your road mileage is balanced or if you need to make any more adjustments. We'll run that through the tool and then send it back to the House of Representatives to communicate back to you on whether that's balanced. So this is kind of the methodology of how that'll work. They're going to send that GIS file to us, and then we're going to compare that against the certified mileage as it existed at the end of last year, because that was your last official certified mileage, the one that was sent to the tax commission. So that's the last official one. If you've already sent us county action reports for the year, or if you've already responded to your county mailer, we can work with using the newer data. Since you've already made those changes, we'll just need to talk about that while we're working on this. We're going to manually update the county commissioner district attribute in our data to match the new lines. And then we'll use a Python script to automatically calculate the new districts along all those roads and send it back out to you. And this is, we get questions on this all the time. So I'm just going to go through a quick example of how we actually calculate the certified mileage with your roads. So this is kind of just a fake generic county. We'll call it County A. And here's your 3 districts broken up evenly amongst land area. If you have a road in the middle of one of your districts, it can either be a local road or a collector. And if it's a certified road, then that district gets full credit for that road and the county as a whole gets full credit for that road. If the road lies along a district boundary within your own county, it doesn't matter if it's a local or a collector again. If it's certified, the county itself gets full credit for that road because it's within that county, but the 2 commissioners will split the mileage for that road. So if it's a 1 mile road, each commissioner gets half a mile. For collector roads specifically along the county boundary, if it falls on your north or east side of your county, you will get full credit for that collector. This is a rule that's gone back quite a ways between ODOT and the counties. We call it the North and East rule. So the county gets full credit and that commissioner gets full credit for that road. If you have a collector that falls on your south or west side, you do not get any credit for that road. All credit for that road goes to the adjoining county where that road would fall on that county's north or east side. And then if you have a local road anywhere along your county boundary, you split the mileage with your adjoining county. So the county commissioner would get half credit, and then the county commissioner in the adjoining county would get the other half credit for that road. And then when talking about roads within municipalities, so these are incorporated towns or cities, if the population of that municipality is less than 2,500, you automatically get full credit for every road in that city. With the city being that small, it's assumed that you already have a maintenance agreement going, you're already helping them build and maintain the roads. But the way that Title 69, Section 316 is written, you automatically get full credit for those roads. If the municipality has a population between 2,500 and 4,999, you can get credit for their roads if you have a signed interlocal agreement and we have a copy of it on record. It doesn't have to be all the roads. We have several agreements in place where it's only X number of roads, only the section line roads to the town. It depends on how you write it when you send it to us. And then if the municipality is over 5,000 population, you have no possibility for credit. I know there's been some legislative acts that have been brought up that haven't passed yet that would attempt to change that. But for the time being, if it's over 5,000 population, you can't get credit for those roads. And then there's our contact information if you want to reach out to us. Mine's on the left, and then Kelly White, our section manager, who is probably who most of y'all have been talking with more often. She kind of heads up our county inventory stuff now. So that's our contact information. But that's the end of the presentation. So I guess we're open for questions now, if anybody has any.
Oh, when we get our maps, will the city maps actually show exactly where the city boundaries are?
Yes, we have. Hello. Oh, there it goes. The city maps that ODOT provides has the city limit boundary as it's released by the tax commission. And we're required to use those city limits. We've run into some situations recently where a city limit may have been drawn incorrectly or too wide, where it appears that just a utility easement was turned in as a full annexation. So they're having to go back and fix that. But if you have a city, or if you're questioning a city limit, it's on our maps and it's from the tax commission.
When you were speaking about our district's boundaries, did you say they did not have to touch?
So that is the principle of contiguity, and they do not have to touch because it is not outlined in the statute in Title 19, 321. However,
so a district can be bulk of it here and then come into one of the major towns and catch the rest of their population over here and it be in two separate areas. That,
I have seen that with some county commissioner districts. Yes.
wow, did not.
Yes, road miles between a county that the boundary line is the state line. Do we get road mileage for them miles or just half of those miles?
So counties along the state line get a freebie on that one because we have no way to split credited tax dollars to a different state. The state line roads get full credit to that county.
Thank you.
So that's come up a bunch recently. The way that we at ODOT are handling that recently is if you have that situation, and yes, I agree, they're supposed to be taking the whole road since their city limit touches it. If they're not and they're refusing to do it, come work with us. We'll give you credit for that road so you can at least get paid for your maintenance part on that road. We've also laxed a lot on city strips that happen to run, or city fences that run along a road where maybe it was supposed to be offset and you maintain that road. Also come talk to us about that. We've laxed that a lot too. We'll give you credit for that so you can get paid for your maintenance on those.
So Sam, Leon, Warner Creek County, the cities between 2,500 and 49.99, the agreement you're talking about, is that an interlocal or a different agreement?
No, all we need is a copy of your interlocal maintenance agreement, and then we'll give you credit for those roads.
Okay, so that'll work for what you're doing here. Okay, thank
Correct.
you very much.
And on that topic, if you have cities in your county that are close to any of those cutoffs, keep an eye on that when the census rolls around, because when the census numbers come out, we will automatically have to break those off. If you go over, if you have one that you have an agreement goes over 5,000, you'll automatically lose those. If you have one that was over 25 and they lost population and fell under, you're automatically going to get all that mileage. So keep an eye if you have any cities that are close to any of those cutoffs.
And I'll just add to that a little bit. So on the House Redistricting website, we will have tables and spreadsheets showing the new county and city population. So you could reference that as a guiding factor for those considerations Sam just mentioned.
Yeah, it's completely up to how you want to write it. If you want to take all of them, if you want to list out very specifically which roads you maintain, we're going to set up your certified mileage based on how that agreement reads.
Could you please go over the share line with another county?
Sure. So on county line roads, if it's a local road, so a functional class 7, not a collector, you split half mileage with the adjoining county, no matter where it is along your edge. If you have a collector, if it's on your north or east side, you get full credit. You get all the mileage, the other county doesn't. So then if the collector's on your south or west side, you don't get any of the mileage, the adjoining county does.
I mean, you don't know the size without this. Come on, guys.
The last time we redistricted, it took a lot of folks. We'll just use our county for example. Sealing is over there about 20 miles from Visay. the folks in Sealing, a lot of them is right there, had to drive all the way to Visay to do their voting. I was catching heck over it because they was upset with how that was handled. What can you do about fixing that?
Well, I'll say that I know that so you are talking about Dewey County, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Dewey County is whole in the House plan right now, meaning that it's not split up. It's the same for the Senate's redistricting plan. That county is not split up through any district lines. So it would be your county commissioner districts that really determine the precinct boundaries, because precinct boundaries cannot cross any state house, state senate, congressional district, or judicial district lines. So when the state election secretaries following the county commissioner redistricting, when they go and look at their options for precinct lines, your lines are really going to determine what they can do. So if that's an issue that's been complained about, that's something that you have the power to fix in terms of the distance.
Good.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
So to my knowledge, the cities do not receive any mileage based on road distance, especially through like certified mileage or anything. That's all dependent on their own city tax. And Randy may be able to speak more if the cities get a special state tax for road maintenance. But to my knowledge, it's all based on their own city sales tax to fund their road maintenance.
So the cities get a little bit of like the fuel taxes, but it's based off of population. And then like it was mentioned, mostly sales tax that generates their income.
Anybody else?
If y'all do think of a question later, or if you want more information on county certification stuff, ODOT has a booth by the conference door entrance way out here in the hall. And we'll be here till they break us down at lunchtime.
And I do have to do my final push for the survey. So if you do know that you plan on utilizing the House or Senate's service for redistricting, if we could please get you to fill out your survey. The survey will ask you a few things. Are road miles important to you? If that's a yes, then we'll know that we'll need to work with Sam later on as we're redistricting. The other thing is, have you thought about your deviation policy? Are you going to do plus or minus 5%, plus or minus 1%? What's your ideal? So as we're looking at the new population of your districts, where are you going to be comparing them? We have them preloaded into our software, and we'll know right away which districts are out of balance and which districts aren't. So if we have your contact information handy, then we'll be able to just email you as soon as we have that data so that you can start making decisions or thinking about the boundary changes. The surveys are up here on the podium, and please fill them out if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.